So here we are on Lighthouse, one of the most scenic locations in all of Tarkov. This place has everything that you would need to make a good map, but there's something off about playing this map. Despite being one of the biggest maps in the game, PMCs just don't have any room to breathe when the raid starts. This might be suicide. Yep, look at that. And this harkens back to one of the oldest frustrations in Tarkov history, the 30-second raid. Nobody likes spending 5 minutes equipping gear and 5 minutes loading into a raid, only to be sent back to the lobby in under a minute. It's demoralizing, annoying, and frankly creates an uncomfortable level of anxiety for some people at just the idea of loading into a run on Lighthouse. This isn't helped by the fact that basically the entire lobby is generally loading into the map with the exact same goal: get to the water treatment plant, clear the rogues, and scavenge the sweet high-quality loot squirreled away by those traitor USECs in their warehouses. Basically, what I want to talk about in this video is why I think Lighthouse would benefit so much from adding a little bit of extra space to spread out the spawns a little bit, and give PMC some breathing room at the start of a raid to prevent the inevitable spawn-killing fiesta that currently dominates the map. In its current state, if you have a good grasp on the Lighthouse PMC spawns, you can kind of predict the first 2 to 3 minutes of a Lighthouse raid almost immediately when your boots hit the ground after deploying. If you get one of the good spawns, you know you're in for an easy kill. And if you get one of the bad spawns, your only choices are to sit and wait until everyone else moves forward, or risk walking into a sniper alley on par with Halo 2 on Legendary. Let's take a quick look at a map of the south side of Lighthouse and the PMC spawns so I can explain the problem in a bit more detail, and maybe give you some clarity on why you keep getting spawn killed when you start down on the south end. What I have circled in red are the PMC spawns in the south part of Lighthouse. There are 10 spawns on this side of the map, and they're basically spread out into 3 tiers or layers of PMC spawns. At the bottom of the food chain, you have the most southern spawns, one near the South Road extract and one on the beach near the entrance to the Lighthouse. These spawns are truly the worst. You have a long run to get anywhere with decent loot, and your options are very limited on how you can move forward. The beach spawn isn't totally horrible, but the South Road spawn basically leaves you with the option of running up the road, which is being watched by snipers, or running up the mountain, which is also being watched by snipers. A bit further north, we have the second layer of PMC spawns, one in the trees near the beach, one near the co-op extract in the tunnel, a third near the mountainside just down the road from the chalet, and a fourth one near the water on the beach. While these certainly aren't the best spawns on the map, you at least spawn near cover, and you're not tucked right into the bottom of the map, so you have multiple directions to try and move and get angles on other players. Finally, we have the third layer of PMC spawns, spread out in a fairly even line starting at the beach and spreading out to the road, the mountain pass, and the village. These spawns are what I pray for every time I load into Lighthouse. They're close to the road compound, they generally have pretty decent cover, and you have multiple options for how and where you can move once you spawn. Now, on a map where everyone was fighting to get to the center to a point of interest, I think these spawns would be fine. But in Lighthouse, almost the entire lobby wants to move north, and that's where the problems begin. If you spawn in the south, you have to pass through 2 or even 3 separate sniper gauntlets just to move forward on the map to anywhere important. And because you can't really go around since the map is enclosed by a mountain on one side and the ocean on the other, you really have no choice but to move forward. These spawns in the middle of the map can basically all just turn around and wait for the players in the south to move up. Almost all of the spawns in the middle have easy access to elevated positions where they can just find a bush or a tree, go prone, and wait to spot movement. And even if the southern spawns decide to go through the mountain and past the chalets, there's 2 PMC spawns that they have to pass through, and no real way to bypass them and move through safely. The players who spawn in the middle of the map can be really patient and control basically all the important routes, but it's not perfect for them either, since they'll inevitably be fighting each other, and they run the risk of getting pincered by players from north and south if anyone who spawns further up decides to turn around and clear their 6. The players who do spawn in the north near the road compound get the best options in my opinion, since they can decide to wait and gatekeep all the players who have spawned behind them, or they can move fast and just get across the river and into the water treatment plant and grab all the loot while everyone else is fighting just to get out of their spawns. However, it's not perfect for them either. Look at how close these spawns are to each other. On the road, one guy spawns in the trees with cover and concealment, while another spawns in a ditch with no cover and no good escape. By the village, one guy spawns down low in the houses and the other spawns near an elevated ridgeline where they can run up and snipe from. So even if these are some of the best spawns on Lighthouse, you still end up with PMCs uncomfortably close to you, and generally end up with a spawn fight within the first 2 minutes. The odd ones out here are the 2 spawns in the mountains overlooking the water treatment plant. These spawns are kind of off on their lonesome, except for the fact that once again we have 2 spawns right next to each other, and the furthest one north can basically just turn around and wait in a bush until the other one moves forward. It's really awkward for one of Tarkov's biggest maps to have such a chaotic early raid experience, and it can lead to a lot of frustration when you're trying to do all of those quests that make you go to the water treatment plant. If you spawn way down south, you've basically already lost the loot and the chance to take down rogues for the quests as well. And you're most likely going to get shot at by snipers every step of the way as you move forward. If you spawn up north, you basically get a free shot at the rogues and an easy opportunity to bush camp everybody and just wait for people. So what do I think can be done to fix this? Well, Lighthouse is basically in the same position the original Customs map was in. It's a long, narrow map with tons of obvious choke points, and everyone is trying to move in the same direction. Customs received 2 map expansions over the years, which basically opened up the map horizontally and made it significantly wider, which spread players out and most importantly provided options to move around areas instead of being forced to go right through them. While I know it's a bit of a pipe dream, let's imagine an expanded Lighthouse with more of the eastern side of the map opened up for players to spawn in and move through. In my fantasy world, I would expand over near the chalets and basically push the mountains back to the east, adding some more vacation houses or a small subdivision, or maybe even like a retail park location with strip malls and grocery stores. By making the map wider, we could have the spawns in more of a U shape instead of being staggered in horizontal lines up the map. This would put the players further apart at the start of the raid and limit the possibility of instantly running into other players right at the start of a run. This would also limit the sniper sightlines a bit from the players who spawn in the middle of the map on the big mountain. This provides a path for players who spawn farther south to actually head east to avoid moving up the road or past the chalets and into the waiting arms of all the snipers on the mountain. Adding some square footage on the east side also means we could maybe move back the spawns right by the water in the north, the guys who can basically just take the water treatment plant for free if they're quick enough. As much as I love getting that spawn and taking free rogue kills and all the loot, I think it would be better overall if all players on the map had some distance to cover before they reached the compound. I think the east side expansion idea would work well because it still keeps the flow of the map as everyone heading north, all competing for the water treatment plant and the rogues. But it also provides cover and concealment and options for movement to more of the spawns, and could be used to create a new point of interest that makes this side of the map more worthwhile to loot, because currently, I at least find it better to just skip everything and head to the rogue compound. So that basically covers it for my big beef with the Lighthouse spawns. I do unironically enjoy Lighthouse, so I hope it doesn't sound like I'm just complaining. Farming rogues at night and making sneaky sniper plays against PMCs is really fun, but I just feel that once you know how to play the current spawns, it's just a bit too predictable for people in the know and too chaotic for the rest of them. What do you think? Would you like to see Lighthouse get expanded? Do you agree that the east side of the map is the best place to start, or do you have other ideas? Thanks for checking out the video. I've got links to my Twitch channel in the description if you want to come check out some of my Tarkov gameplay live. And until next time, stay safe in Tarkov City.